Kia e-Niro diaries on the 4th of December, and we're on our way to the UK. We've done about 100 kilometres. Mrs. e-Niro driving with the little gloves on. You know, it's not cold, but it was when we started. So a few days ago we had the ridiculously high temperatures, and I ranted on about that in my previous video, and today we've had like 5-6 degrees. We've gone from fog like this to sunshine and back into fog again. Charged to 100%, and without the heater on, 100% is giving us 498 kilometers. Put the heater on and it's far more realistic, 440. So we've done about 100 kilometers now. We are halfway between Poitiers and Tours. Plan is to find a charger by Le Mans. That should be at about 200, with about 250 kilometers under our belt, and then after that press on up to Caen and the ferry, which is what we always do. So yeah, and the other thing is, the odometer's just gone over the 111,111, so it's all the ones, which was quite an amusing thing. Anyway, till we plug in. So we've been at this Tesla supercharger now for 35 minutes, and we really needed a rest and something to eat. And for the first 10 minutes it wouldn't charge above 41 kilowatt hours, and after about 10 minutes all of a sudden it zoomed up to 55, and say we were down to 35%. It took 19 minutes to get to 50%. We're back down now at 43 kilowatts charging speed, and we've got over 300 kilometers of range, and we only need about 160, 170 to where we're going. And the next place we're going is another Tesla charger just off the Caen ring road. And when you get to Caen, you're only about 15 kilometers from the ferry in Winchester. So the idea is, at this other Tesla place in Caen, there's a couple of restaurants nearby, so we'll probably have our evening meal there before we head up to the ferry. But yeah, we're on 69%. Been here 36 minutes now. We've got 27.6 kilowatt hours on board. It's cost us €14, 36. Just coming up to 70%. Mrs. e-Niro's just gone off to use the loo, as I have done. I mean, this is a kind of industrial site. It's just all hotels around here. And there are 16 Tesla chargers, and just round the back of the hotel there's Tesla version 4 chargers, but they're destination chargers for the hotel. But there's a sign up there that says, you know, you're welcome to come and use the bar, use the snacking, and use the toilets in the hotel. So fair enough. Yeah, so we're going to be setting off in a minute. So we have reached another Tesla charging place at Caen, just off the Caen ring road, and funnily enough we were back at 35% again. So we've done 420 kilometers, about 425 actually. So our charging regime today has been, we left at 100, we got down to 35, we charged back up to 72 in Le Mans, and back down to 35 again. And we need some food, and there's a restaurant just across the road, and we've actually set it up to charge to 100% on a rapid charger. I mean, it's charging at 57 kilowatts at the moment on this one. And it's going to take, it says, an hour and 26, so that would be perfect. If we come out and it hasn't finished, we'll just stop it, as long as we've got enough so that when we get off the ferry in the morning in the UK, we can get to where we're going and not bother about charging in that very expensive country. So while we were having dinner, I got the car up to 97% on a Tesla rapid charger. I don't think I've ever charged it so high on a rapid charger before. And by the end, because we were sat in the restaurant and you can see what the car's doing, and it was charging at like 57 kilowatts at its peak, and then it gradually eased off down to about 10 kilowatts. So yeah, that cost us so we actually got 46.8 kilowatt hours on board, and that cost €22.93. So we've done 431 kilometers today. We've got about another 25 to get back up to the ferry, so we're just going to go and do that now, and say we've got a 180 kilometer trip tomorrow when we get into the UK, and this charging that we've done today will cover all that and lots more. So it's pretty good. This Tesla place just off the Caen ring road, it's got 12 stalls, and there were 3 or 4 people charging, all Teslas. I was the only non-Tesla there. So. Early morning, just about to roll off the ferry onto this island off the coast of Europe.
He's not a morning person.
I mean, I slept really well on the boat, but it's never enough for me. And actually, it's a bit strange this time. The boat is not very full at all, and they've put us in right behind this great big truck. So, in fact, we are surrounded by big trucks. And then just above us is a deck with cars on. They didn't put us up there. And they do put this EV sticker on your window, and when you check in it says, is your car a hybrid or an EV? And I don't know. I suppose that's for, in the case of a fire, the emergency responders would know that therein lies lithium ion. So yeah, anyway, great big sticker on the window saying EV.
Not that they would know where we were on the boat. And the sticker, at that time the sticker's melted and gone up in flames.
Yes. It's crazy. Anyway, just about to roll off and see if the UK Border Force will let us in. So here we are on the unlovely A34 north of Newbury, and we were first off the boat. Never happened before in all the years we've been doing ferry crossings. We were actually the first car off the boat and the first to the passport control, and we were on the road just before 7 o'clock in the morning, and the South Coast Road was crowded and rainy and all of that. Anyway, we stopped at Top Hill Services, where we always tend to stop, and last time we did it just over a year ago, Shell were digging up all of their chargers, which, as I remember, were only about 2 years old. There was diggers in there and replacing them, and there are 8 brand new chargers in there, and round at the McDonald's, because we just stop at McDonald's to get a cup of tea, there was another 2 Instavolt chargers. So last time we stopped there were 2, now there are 4, and now we've stopped. It's a traffic jam, and it is a bit of a shock when you live in France and you come back to the UK and you're dealing with this level of traffic again, and the number of potholes in the road. But I'm not going to get too ranty about that because I've done that already. Mrs. e-Niro is in charge.
Mrs. e-Niro is just orientating to
driving on the left in a left-hand drive car. Anyway, on our way up to Buckingham, and there's no rush to get there, but this looks bad up ahead. I don't know what's going on there.
This is always
it's commute traffic pulling off at Culham and all those industrial areas at Culham. Anyway, it's a case of meet your friendly pothole in the UK. The interesting thing is that yesterday in France it was a lot colder than it is here. We were only seeing 5 or 6 degrees when we were coming up to the ferry. Here it's 13, 14, a bit wet, but the efficiency difference is incredible. Yesterday, over 440 kilometres, we averaged 16.2 kilowatt hours. 100 kilometres was about 3.8, I think, miles per kilowatt hour, and today 13.3 so far, and we're almost at Buckingham. A lot of it's to do with temperature, but a lot of it's to do with we've spent a lot of time in queues here. We were stuck on the A34 for about half an hour. There'd been a really bad accident with a couple of lorries. But yeah, I mean, efficiency here is more like 4.7 miles per kilowatt hour. So, we're just coming up to one of the HS2 bridges. Yeah, so a lot of HS2 construction on this road up to Milton Keynes and Buckingham. So 6th of December, and we've decided to visit Stowe House, the lovely Stowe House. Walk around the grounds. We didn't actually go in the house. The grounds are absolutely wonderful. And what we didn't know was that there are 8 AC charging points in the car park here. And so we decided to avail ourselves of that. I was going to use the Shell Recharge. There's some new Shell Recharge rapid chargers right by the hotel where we're staying. They weren't there last year because we always stay at the same place when we come to Buckingham. And yeah, so downloaded the ChargePoint app, gave them my card details. French bank card seems to be perfectly fine. Any money is good money, I guess, and it's 50p a kilowatt hour. So by French standards, that's pretty expensive for an AC charger. What's that, about 60 centimes? But by UK standards, it's pretty cheap. So when we arrived, we were at 53%. We've been 2.5 hours walking around the grounds. We're at 75% now. So just going to stop this charge and maybe just one little more top up before we head off to Exeter tomorrow morning. So e-Niro diary, 7th of December, and Storm Darragh has hit, and we're not too sure about going down to Exeter today. We're going to see how it goes. But anyway, I'm at a Shell Recharge place, which is just near the hotel where we're staying. There are 6 chargers here. None of them were here this time last year, well, just about over a year ago when we were here. There's certainly a lot more chargers around in Buckingham. We used to just charge on the AC chargers at Tesco's. Now, when I first came to this charger last night to use it, there are 6. The first 2 were occupied. The third one, CHAdeMO was working, but CCS wasn't. And then there was another one that was busy, and then the N2 were free, and they said CCS was working. I couldn't get it to work, and then a guy turned up in a BYD Atto 3 who lived close by here, and he just needed a quick top-up. He couldn't get it to work either, and it turned out that although the chargers were working, the payment systems had broken on those N2. So anyway, one of the other chargers came free, and he moved the BYD, and I said, I'm gonna, because I don't know how to use these things. They're a little bit awkward. I downloaded the app, which doesn't seem to give you any benefits at all, other than it's another route planner kind of application, and it says that my ChargeMap card should work with these chargers. Anyway, he got his to work, and it turned out he works for BYD, and he's the guy's been setting up all their sales concessionaires in the UK. So we had a real good talk about BYD cars, and he's been over to China and all of that, and he's met Elliot Richardson, the guy who appears on for the Fully Charged show, and been around the factory at BYD. Very interesting, and we swapped emails, and he said he's going to arrange for me to get some tests of cars in France. That would be lovely. Let's see what happens. But right now I'm having to deal with this situation. Storm Darragh managed to get on the charger after the guy with the BYD left. But I couldn't stay long on here because we had to go somewhere in the evening, and I got about 8 or 10 kilowatt hours on board. I think got us up to about 78% or something. So anyway, I came over again this morning because we still haven't checked out the hotel yet, and put it on and said, let's see. It was going to take an hour and 55 to get from 78% to 100%. Started off at 24 kilowatts, and it's been going down and down. It's now at 4. It's at 94%, and it's charging even slower than an AC charger. As I say, I don't normally do this, but the prices are outrageous. I think it's 70p if you've got a Shell recharge card, but when I looked at my charge map, it had translated my bill into over €1 a kilowatt hour. So anyway, but look, it's all about convenience. Not going to use Shell recharge as a matter of course. So anyway, I'm going to unplug now, and we'll see what we're going to do. If we're going to try to get down to Exeter this afternoon, the winds, the 90 mile an hour winds have gone now, but we're still talking about 60 miles an hour winds, and the advice is really not to travel. But I don't want to stay around here anymore, and I want to go to see my son, so we'll see how it goes. We are driving directly into Storm Darragh. Done 105 kilometres since Buckingham. Came down the A34 to Oxford, then cut across to Swindon. Yeah, it's getting worse as we go west. This is a pretty heavy car for a small car, so like most electric cars, it's quite stable, but I'm keeping my speed down. But even just rolling along at like between 50 and 60 miles an hour, my consumption is absolutely terrible. It's 5-6 degrees, we've got the heater on, driving into the storm, and I was at 21 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres at one point. It's got a bit better, 17 and a half now, but still sort of barely 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, I guess. Anyway, still a long way to go to Exeter, and hopefully we'll get out of this driving rain, but it's pretty wild. But we're on our way. Storm Darragh then, we finally arrived in Exeter on Saturday. Storm Darragh was pretty horrendous, and we had a couple of days in Exeter, and got some kilowatt hours courtesy from my son's Zappi charger. So 100%, we were at 428 kilometres of range with the heater on, and we're now on the lovely A303, I'm sorry, up to Winchester, so it's about 220 kilometres, 125 miles, something like that. And there are bits of dual carriageway, but there are also bits of this, this is a main road in the UK, linking cities. Yeah, okay. No, we will get back onto dual carriageway at some point. So yeah, one more day in the UK, one more night in the UK, and then we're off to the ferry tomorrow. But the interesting thing is, it's still windy, not as windy as it was with Storm Darragh, but the efficiency on the car is terrible. I mean, it's like 20 kilowatt hours, 100 kilometers, about 3 miles per kilowatt hours. So not good. And the wind seems to be coming from every direction. I'm not getting it. I thought it would be at my back, but it isn't. So anyway, yeah. Kia e-Niro diaries on a very cold, damp day in Winchester. Drove up from Exeter last night, stayed overnight at my daughter's house. That was a pretty horrendous drive, to be honest. And we're down to 48%. And so the charge map was telling me that at this place in Winchester there are 2 slow chargers. And the plan was to plug in and spend 5-6 hours just wandering around Winchester. Well, there's no slow chargers here, but there are these 2 tritium 50 kilowatt rapids. They're in the car park of a spa and of a hotel and spa place. You're limited to 1 hour staying. I've got no idea what the price is. No idea at all. So we are at 78%. Just another couple of minutes to go up to 80%. About 325 kilometres of range, which will be enough to do the rest of today, get us down to the ferry, and then get us to where we want to go for the first stop in France tomorrow morning. We didn't realise that we had to actually pay car parking to charge here, and they've just slapped a £25 penalty fine. I had an interesting conversation with the woman, but she's just doing her job. The other thing with this charger, it's a company called MER, M-E-R. Statkraft is actually a very reputable Norwegian company that I had some dealings with in my working life. So it'd be interesting to see what they charge me, because my ChargeMap card wouldn't work, my Kia charge card wouldn't work. So I used my UK bank card and it started. I just needed to get the power on board, but there's no indication of what the price is per kilowatt hour here, so it will be a surprise, shall we say, as you know, generally the costs here are really high compared to France. Anyway, we're charged pretty much. So just for the record, just finished charging at this place in the spa in Winchester, and we've been charged £21.07 for 27 kilowatts. In fact, it's just over 27.06 kilowatts. So I don't know, I haven't done the math on that yet, but I guess it's about 80p a kilowatt hour. Yeah, morning. 10 to 7 nearly. Yeah, French time's 10 to 7. Just landed back in France. We are right near the front of rolling off, so yeah, 440 kilometres ahead of us. 289 kilometres of range left with a 70% battery. It's been really only reckoning of about 16 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, so not very efficient at the moment. So we were on the road and through passports by 7 in the morning, which is pretty good. Didn't take very long at all. We were right near the front of the boat. So yeah, we'd done 175 kilometres and we're at the services just north of Le Mans. Now we're at the Total rapid chargers. I didn't bother looking for the Tesla ones again like we did on the way up. We just want to get home really. And when we were here 2 years ago, these chargers were brand new and none of them were working. They had a problem with them. Now not only are they all working, well actually one isn't working. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 chargers. 1, 2, 3, 4, no 5. There's 7 chargers. 5 of them are 175 kilowatt chargers and the other 2 are 50s. We're plugged into one of the 175s because I think I ought to get more than 50. and I'm only getting 54. So we arrived here at 20% state of charge with 69 kilometres of range left. It's cold, it's windy, it's about 4 degrees, and we've managed 18.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. It was only 3.3 miles, I think, per kilowatt hour. We've got 270 kilometres to do to get home. It's been charging for 20 minutes and we've gone from 20% to 43%. We're charging at 54 kilowatts. I mean, normally on these chargers, certainly in the summer at a low state of charge, I'll get 70, 75 kilowatt charging for a period of time anyway, but no, it's just stayed at 53, 54 since we've plugged in. And they're saying 28 minutes to get to 80%, so we need a bit of a rest anyway, a cup of tea and stuff, so then we'll be on our way.